I am holding a Kenyan currency, actually one of the highest printed notes. This is 1,000 Kenyan shillings, you know, and yeah, I'm looking at it and attaching value to it because I was talking to my daughter just I normally drop her to school, and so we have conversations constantly as we go along. And so she listens to me, and so recently she decided to ask. And she was like, Daddy, why does life appear to have been very good for you back in the days? And so this is where that story actually comes from. Because I mentioned to her how we used to have quite amazing train rides going home because my dad was a teacher. And wow, she was like, a teacher? How comes he appeared to have really been having a good time back then? And so she has a way of relating modern situations to stories of the past. And coming from a family of 7 children, yes, I said seven, children, we had a routine of going to the village every other December, and so we would know that immediately we close school for the December holidays, it was time for everybody to travel home. And I could hear my mom use the word road warrant. I had no idea what a road warrant was, but we knew she kept on saying, oh, dad has gotten the road warrant, so we are going to travel. And so this, I came to let her know that it was a train value ticket that he gets courtesy of his position as a teacher in a school. And so we would go prepare for the whole day. It was a day that we were looking forward to because we knew today at 6 p.m. in the evening we are traveling. And so there was the idea of packing, prepping, looking forward to that 12 hours of train ride from Nairobi to Kisumu overnight. It was just an amazing trip. You know, the train was efficient. It was amazing. Okay, lucky for us, we used to get the second floor. Sorry, we used to get the second class coach, and second class, had beds that could be folded and unfolded. So when we get in, we sit, start up the trip. And the trip could start promptly at 6 p.m., not a minute less, not a minute earlier, So going to the Nairobi railway station and getting in there, and my dad holding a piece of paper, and we are walking around the train coaches, and we find one written, Mr. Okoyo and family. You get it? And wow, I think if anything made me proud was to just read that name of my father and the family on that coach. It was specifically for us, nobody else. So when I tell my daughter some of these stories, and she's like, does that happen today? Does the train still leave on time? Why don't we use it anymore? What do I tell her? I thought people are more advanced technology, education, management, leadership, systems, and all that. And she can't connect why things used to be so good in the 80s and 90s and no longer very appealing today. What happened to the buses? So I gave her the story of how we used to go to school via the Kenya bus. And we talked, and I told her the three of us who were going to school could only pay 6 shillings. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shillings. 1 shilling going, 1 shilling coming back. And she laughed. She was like, 1 shilling? What can 1 shilling do today? And I told her, yes, that's what we call the value of currency and the changes of inflation and many different things that happen. But she's been trying to pick it up. So she's like, for 6 shillings, you guys could go to school and come back? I'm like, yes. So while value of money could shift and change, the value you get out of a service should also improve in its own way. And so she feels like there has to be a problem. There's a disconnect somewhere. And I told her that that bus used to be on time. If it is 7, you could be guaranteed you leave the house. If you stay 3 minutes away, you leave the house 3 minutes, get to the bus stop, and the bus would be turning. And the buses were going from one end of town to the other end of town, keeping time, regardless of how traffic was then or not. Which means a lot of things should have been improving with time. If population increases, then so should be our road networks, so should be our management systems, so should be our technology and innovation. But nothing like that happened. So here we are today. And when she listens to the stories of things that used to happen before then, in a lot of ways, she gets a little bit perplexed, you know? And why am I talking about this story? Is because when did we drop it? How did we drop it? We have more educated people. We have more complicated system. We have improved technology. We have better education systems. But what is happening today? We guys used to go to school and have books that everybody in the family could pass it on. If you go to the next class, you pass your books on to the next person coming after you. Parents could coordinate and collaborate. Hey, this year, do you have somebody going to this class? No. But you have these books? Yes. Here are my set of books. And education had a pattern. People could know what they are studying for even 5, 6 to 10 years without any changes. What happens nowadays? So what exactly has happened to our leadership? And this is what I need to explain to my daughter, like a 2-year-old, because she doesn't get it. If people are presidents, if people are given the opportunity to lead public offices with education, with systems, with style, with decorum, why are we doing badly today than we were doing back then? I told her that we used to have a city council authority that could come and pick garbage religiously every single week. They even gave us a dustbin that was branded NCC, Nairobi City Council. And that used to come. Yet how much were we paying? I think in total, if I can remember, the rent where we used to stay somewhere in Eastlands must have been about 210 shillings. So 210 shillings, and you would find your water bill coming with all those charges down there. But we could get services. Today, we are paying probably 100 times more, and we get zero services. Why? So a 9-year-old can't understand. And this brings me to the point of leadership. What has happened to us as a people? What has happened to us as a nation? And what has happened to us as a country? Aren't we advancing and growing and learning with time as everything goes? Or are we retrogressively not growing? If that's the word I would use. Is our growing going backwards? Or are we advancing with time? Yeah, so today we are building the Tattoo City, we are building the Konza City, we are building different social amenities and different things that are happening. But why do we do a population census every 10 years? This is supposed to guide the cartographers on trends and things that are going to happen in the future. We need to know how many children are being born. How many of them need schools? How much water resources would we require? How much housing would we need? How should our roads expand? And if you look at the road expansion system or network, then the road reserves were designed by the initial people who are here. Maybe I just don't want to mention that. But if those people could see that roads will need to be expanded 50 to 70 to 100 years from now, what are our today's planners doing? We've sold those road reserves. We are approving buildings randomly left, right, and center. We don't have water in a city. It's chaotic. Garbage is a mess. Public transport is a mess. Pedestrian walking vis-a-vis safety on the roads, even for cycling, is a mess. Where are we heading? Where are we going? So politics plays a very big role in how things happen. And we've seen the last 2-3 years with this administration, it's total chaos, total chaos. Random announcements, roadside announcements, political declarations. Nothing is based on policy. The people who are supposed to be proper administrators are not managing the estate. Everything is hinged onto a politician, a person who is only thinking 5 years. And lucky for them if they get another chance, another 5 years. How can a country be run like that? We used to have Vision 2030. When I was going to school as a person, we learned about Mussolini in Italy, who had 5-year plans of economic development. And so many other plans are running out there that people are using. So why are we today having everything that is so random? Kenyans, it's our time to wake up. Our children are getting depressed. Our children are getting frustrated. Our children are getting disillusioned. Because if they hear what things were and where we are at today, then they have no future. They see no hope. Education is random. Everything changes every other time. Funding is a mess. So where do they hang on to? Do they have a country? At this moment, the verdict is yours. So let us think about leadership. Let us think about the potential of how we can improve our country and make things work better. So my daughter asked a final question, Dad, why can't things be as cheap as they were back then? And I told her, it's true, the value of money could have been very minimal by then, but it was still very expensive because a parent could be earning 500 bob and she couldn't connect. What do you mean? Salary of 500 bob? I'm like, yes. That is why bus fare was a shilling. Bread was a shilling. Milk was a few cents. And with 20 bob, I could buy breakfast. Today with 200 shillings, probably you'll be lucky if you get a loaf of bread and milk. So everything happens with its own time. So my daughter is a little bit confused as of now. She's wondering whether this is the country to be in. Inflation is a global issue, I know, but we can do better. We can manage our resources better because there are people who are doing it. I watched a video from Senegal. You know, Senegal is just here in West Africa. You look at the BRT road system, you look at their train system, and you wonder whether we are in the same Africa. In Kenya, everything a politician touches turns to a scandal. Thank you. I'll end my statement at that point. Bye-bye.